Ian Griffin, congratulations on your Hall of Fame award with the GAA here at the Sky Sports event.
Yeah.
Can I just ask you straight into the Wexford situation? Davy Fitz has signed on for 2 more years. He's brought Brendan Bugler with him. I presume you're very happy with that.
Yeah, absolutely very happy with that. I'm very happy that there's that they've made a decision to do the 2 years, because I know it's very difficult for Davy back and forward, but you know, it's good that it's settled down now for the rest of his reign there, and he's done a fantastic job. And he's very popular in Wexford. He's learned every inch of the road, and I think he's brought a lot to Wexford. And I think the biggest achievement actually was to get Wexford back into the first division, because it means that, like the likes of Rory O'Connor, Paddy Foley, Kevin Foley, Liam Ryan even, they've never played anything but first division hurling. So that's made a big difference. So he's done a lot of great things, and hopefully we'll get a bit more next year and the year after, hopefully.
And the significance of that 2 year, because I presume throughout this year there was always question marks in the back of everyone's mind within Wexford. Is this the last year? Is this the last kind of shot for him?
Yeah, because you know it was up, because everyone knew that the players had gone to him last year and he came back, but sure, of course everybody was concerned that he would go, because like we'd unfinished business the way Wexford people felt after the Tipperary match, because the match that everyone feels we could have won, and that's always great in the GAA. You can always say you could have won it, but realistically they could have won it. You know what I mean? So more luck to Tip, they went and won it out afterwards. But it's the way they played that day for 90% of that game was absolutely fantastic, and they really lit up Croke Park. So hopefully we can do that again, you know.
Because, you know, 5 points up, a man up, it probably does feel like one that got away a little bit, does it?
I think it does to everybody, but sure, if you analyse it, you'd say that anyway. But the thing is that when they had a man put off, after that, like we wound up that Kevin Foley went back a bit in the backs, and
he pushed up on Paddy Maher.
Yeah, and then what happened? Then we kind of lost a bit of fluency we had, and then Jack O'Connor went off, and then Rory went off. But Sean Murphy was a big loss as well. So look at the tide came in then, and there was no way you were going to get it out. You were gone, and Tip really started to hurl, you know.
Would you have got to know Davy a bit more over the last 3 years? And I suppose you have the Clare links as well.
I have the Clare links. No, I got to know him, but I wouldn't be bothering Davy. I'd be keeping well enough away. But we've had conversations up and down. But look, from my perspective, I think he might be worried that I might be sniping on the side of him. That was never going to happen. Anyone's with over Wexford, my support all the time. And like, in fairness to him, like, it was a marriage made in heaven, mind, because Wexford had played them in 2014 and in Ennis, and then beat them in the replay in Wexford Park and the All Ireland champions. So Davy would have seen there was some potential in that team, and then he was looking for a team, I think, and the marriage was made in heaven really, and both of them gained from it substantially, like, you know, because as you know, like, there wasn't too many management positions available to Davy then because they were all filled. So it was good for Davy as well as good for Wexford. So that's why it was a really good marriage made in heaven.
And 2020 then, the likes of, you know, the reason I thought he couldn't walk away is because you've got such a good age profile now. The likes of Matt O'Hanlon, he's probably 28 or 29, great age. Lee Chin is there. You've all the O'Connors in and around early to mid-20s. Like, it would be the wrong time to leave that team when it's coming to its peak.
Yeah, it would, and there's also, like, he's been loud in his praise of the players and how much they've given him. And I always felt when push will come to shove here, he's going to find it very hard to walk away from the team, because I knew he'd never go to Galway. He couldn't possibly go to Galway because they were going to play Wexford in Wexford Park next year in a championship, and he'd have looked like a hypocrite if he went to Galway. That's what would have happened. Now look at. He wouldn't have been, but that's what it would have appeared, you know. But look, he's not that, and he was very committed to the lads. He's given them everything, and they've given it back to him. So, you know, it was the right move for him, I think. And I know it's difficult for him to get back up and down from Wexford to Clare. I know myself, because it's a pretty bad road, by the way, the whole way. If you're going to Waterford, and if you're going to Carrick-on-Suir and Clonmel and Gare, it's a hell of a long journey. So it's a fair commitment now from him, you know.
How do you see the Wexford county final going on Sunday? Because St Anne's lost by 34 points, I believe, to St Martin's in the first round, and here they are back in the final.
Yeah, the Anns are a surprise now, because like, nobody expected everyone. Well, they were only a couple of minutes away from a relegation battle, actually. So that's what's great about it, isn't it? And they're playing well. D. O'Keefe definitely deserves an All-Star after, this year, I think, anyway, from his performance. But by God, he's certainly doing it for the club as well. And Liam Og is playing well as well. So they wouldn't have the strength and depth now,
Didn't they both miss that Martins game in the first round?
I think they did, yeah. I think they did. I'm not certain now, but I think they did. But they've only a handful of subs. They don't have a great big pick, So... but I still think the Martins have an edge over them, although Rory O'Connor is going to be off now, and that'll be a loss to the Martins, no question about that.
And then I suppose the club situation, you're involved with the CPA. We've seen the Tier 2 being pushed through at Special Congress. No doubt frustration from CPA, you've seen it from the GPA as well. What's the latest as far as you're concerned?
Well, the latest is it's ongoing, right? There's no question about it like that. The general public and the general GAA public, in my opinion, are really looking for change. And I think they're looking for progressive change. And the GAA, by its very nature, is wedded to a lot of things. I understand why. And if you read Paul Rouse's book, you'll understand where it all started out. And you know what? There's some things that never changed right from the sound foundation of the association, But I do think that if they read the tea leaves, they'll certainly see that it needs progressive change, and it needs to be something that's going to whet the appetite. I believe there's formulas there that are possible to make a really significant difference, and also be very good for gate receipts. It won't diminish them, and I think that. But we need to step back, in my opinion, and really stand right back from everything and say, right, okay, this is a games organisation. It's not about structures. Structures are part of it, but essentially it's a games organisation. So the question is, are we fair to every county? Is everyone getting a fair run at any championship? Is there superstars and less superstars? And are they all playing off the same template? These are the questions that I think are being discussed at the moment. But I don't think they can be sidetracked by side issues. It's a games organisation, and are the games out of 10, are they all fair? And they are struggling with that to try and find the right formula. And there has been some, good discussions. But I think, yes, it could be said that bringing in the Tier 2, whether that was for political reasons, I don't know, because I'm not privy to it. But the idea of getting the 2 tiers passed, and it's not in for 3 years, by the way. That's not true, because we were told, and it's true, that in 2021, whatever is going to come about from the committee, the fixtures committee, can be implemented then. So, but the 2 tiers now established. So maybe that's the thinking. But it certainly didn't seem a great idea that you'd move ahead with that while appointing a fixtures committee at the same time. And everyone has to face up to that. That's what the general feeling is and was. So, but hopefully now, and as a member of the CPA executive, I would be very hopeful that we can arrive at a decision that is game centred and it answers those questions. Fairness for everybody, calendar that people know what they're doing, and that it looks and sounds progressive and not regressive. And I think if we come up with that formula, I think it'll be very well received. But I think it's an opportunity. And if we don't come up with that formula, in my opinion, it's an opportunity seriously wasted. And the legacy of that should be for good, not for negativity. But I think the challenge now is before the committee to come up with it, and everybody to really fight for what they believe in a game sense.
And I'm sure if you are having discussions, they're not for public consumption, but do you feel like any conversations you would have had with the GAA ever since the Special Congress on October 19, that they're receptive to what you're trying to say?
They are receptive to what we have to say. Are they, representing the institution that is the GAA, are they? I don't know yet till we see the final document. If the committee is set up on the basis that everybody honestly speaks their opinion and really have something to say, we wanted an independent committee, but GAA people from the GAA, but not of the GAA structures, so that you could get fresh thinking in there. Unfortunately, that wasn't acceptable to. Well, I think it's unfortunate. It wasn't acceptable. I thought it would have been fresh.
Wedded to the traditional thinking.
Well, yeah, and I can understand that because they've come up through the system, right? And fair enough. They're looking at it from a different perspective, but all I'd say is, can we really look at it from the games, the players, and see, and can we examine it upside down and inside out? Does it fulfil the fairness side? Does it fulfil the calendar side? Does it fulfil the growth and development side? Does it give teams that that are marginalised a good chance? Personally, I'm in favour of a tier 2, but I'm in favour of working itself through based on actual results. And I think it's not that difficult to do, but I think it's got to be a meaningful tournament where everybody in tier 1 and tier 2 are playing under the exact same system.
Great stuff, Liam. Thanks very much.